Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I'm super excited for my guest today. She is somebody I met, I think, about 2 years ago now, and she's just a beautiful person, and I like to say a ray of sunshine. So my guest today is Sarah Fui. She is a licensed trauma therapist, transition to intuitive coach. She helps multi-passionate entrepreneurs and creators, gain clarity, overcome self-sabotaging patterns, and take action towards their calling. Aside from being a homeschool mama of 5 children, she is also a singer, and she's a beautiful singer, a songwriter, a keynote speaker, and host of the Renaissance Achiever podcast. Thank you, Sarah, for being on here today.
Thank you for having me. I love that you called me a ray of sunshine and I'm wearing yellow. I'm like, oh, I felt called to the yellow shirt when I was getting ready for this.
I love it. I love it. What I love about you is that you have so many talents. Like, you have so many things. And I just wanted to know, has it always been where you had knew what you wanted to do and all of these things? Like, you are, a coach, you're, a podcaster, a singer, a songwriter, all of these things. Like, how many passions do you have, and has it always been like this? Or kind of walk us through that.
I have always been creative and multi-passionate. And so that's kind of the theme of my own podcast, The Renaissance Achiever, are for, the Renaissance mind of being multi-passionate, into creative and learning and philosophy and all of that. And I've always been that way, but I've not always had the courage to go after the things that excite me. And actually, I had a client ask me this earlier this year, like, have you always been this way? Just believing and you go for your dreams. I'm like, not at all. I would say my journey started around 5 or 6 years ago. And before that, I was a completely different person. Like, if you had known me 10 years ago, 7 years ago, even, I didn't have any big goals or dreams. I loved music, but I had had a band before when I was living in Salt Lake City. And my brother is the one who started the band, ran everything. He's the one who booked all our gigs, got us to record an album. So it was all running on his ambition. but I had zero self-esteem. Even though I wrote the songs and I got on stage to perform, I was just like, well, this isn't going to get anywhere. And I was just like, so didn't have dreams. And I remember having a conversation with him when I was making a life decision. And he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, don't give up your dream of music. Cause he was so dedicated to the band. And I was thinking, like, this isn't my dream. This is your dream. And it took me years later of not making music for years to realize it really was my dream. I was just too scared to admit it. And I didn't believe I had any dreams because I didn't think they were possible. And I remember, I don't remember saying this, but my sister reminded me. She said that she remembers having a conversation with me, and I told her, I'm just always going to be broke, and I'm like, I'm never going to be rich. I'm always going to be struggling, and I could never be an entrepreneur. I don't have that mindset. And I was just like a completely different person, completely different. And I want people to know that I was overwhelmed all the time. I was checked out and anxious. I was just binging on Netflix. I wasn't creating music, and I had like self-loathing for not doing the things that I deeply wanted to do. And I was so worried about what other people thought. And yeah, I was just a completely different person until I started doing the work. Yeah.
I love that because we like everybody sees who you are today, right? And they don't understand the journey that we had to go through to get to where we are today. And I truly admire you for sharing that because you were, like you said, a truly different person. And I think that even as I've seen you and met you, almost 2 years ago, even when I first met you, very quiet, very just soft-spoken person, and I loved just seeing what you've because you continue to evolve, right? We gotta and, now, like, with your music and, like, I didn't like, the first time I met you is the first time I heard you sing, and then I got to see you on stage last year, and it's just all of the things that you're doing. Just wanna say that, 1, I'm super proud of you because I love all the things you're creating. You create retreats, you have, like, your coaching program, you have all of these things, and I just wanna say I'm thankful to know you, and I love what you're doing to help others.
Thank you. I have to remember that, wow, I've come really far when you say the things I've done and picturing it, even from a year ago, right? When I first met you, January 2004, 24 to January 2025, I was a
Mhm.
very much different person. And I think when you talk about refining, I think the biggest refiner for me is getting out of my comfort zone and doing things scared over and over and over again until you trust that it's going to be okay and you're going to figure it out and you're you're going to get better, right?
Mhm.
um, and that builds your confidence. People think I need confidence before I can do this, but it's like, no, doing it and then doing it again and then doing it a little bit better, that's where you get your confidence from, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I would agree with that because it's like we stop like my husband always tells me, "You stop getting ready to get ready to get ready, like, just go out there and do it." And, I think that's so important because even if we fail or and even, all of the things, like, I love Michael Jordan, I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, and it's not like he made every single one of his shots, right? But it took the same practicing over and over and over and over and over, 9,000 shots he had to take before he became, the person he is today, or he was when he was at his, you know, best, and it means you have to just keep repeating the steps over and over, you gotta get better. We didn't it's and I love to use this analogy. We didn't just learn how to walk, or the first time we tried to walk and we fell down, we're like, "Oh, forget it. I failed. I'm not gonna keep going," right? We gotta keep trying. We gotta get up. We gotta start, and keep moving forward. And yeah, we may make some mistakes. We may have to pivot a little bit, but I feel that like your music, I believe our higher power, God put something on your heart, and then you just kind of like felt that maybe it wasn't really your passion. And then he's like, "Yep, it is your passion and you need to do it."
Yeah. I thought it was I felt it was my passion, but not my dream because I did think, oh, I just like it, but it's just for me to like. I don't need to, and I hear this from so many people. I'm just happy doing it. I don't need to play for other people, or I don't need to be seen. I don't need to, impact others or make money from it. And I believe there's truth in that. We don't need to make money from everything we love, and we don't have to be world famous for everything we do, But I also feel it's kind of a cop out and that it's actually the fear of being seen because you weren't given this gift so that you could just sit in your bedroom and enjoy doing it. You were given a gift so that you can impact others. And
Mhm.
so you saying, "Oh, I don't need the attention or I don't need the money." That's you being low key selfish and scared of actually stepping out of your comfort zone and using your gift for what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that? And not just for music, just for, like, for anything that you feel
Mhm.
passionate about, right?
Right, like I've shared this before on the podcast, is like when I didn't wanna when I first thought I wanted to do a podcast at first, then I had that self-doubt and like, "Who'd wanna listen to me? I don't matter," and it was that little girl belief of the things that I had felt and like, "You don't matter, you're not loved, nobody cares about you," and not to say that my childhood was horrible, it was just that there were parts of my life in my childhood where I felt like, you know, I was going through a lot and I felt like nobody cared. And so when you find and you still have those beliefs with as you grow up until you work and do the healing work, and then you realize, okay, I do matter. I do have stuff to say, and I'm going to make an impact on somebody. I may not be the top 10 podcaster, but you know, I got a lot of downloads to show that people are listening and there is something that I need to share. And I love that I make an impact on people when I can will be, like at an event this weekend, somebody talked to me about a podcast. I didn't even know they listened to it. And they talked to me about one of my episodes and how it really helped them. And it's like, okay,
Wow.
then that's my passion. And then that's the thing is like, you don't have to make a lot of money. You don't have to, it's just there's something that God puts on our heart. And if we do what be obedient, it's gonna make an impact for his glory is how I feel.
Yeah, it's there to help uplift the world in some way or another, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, but it requires getting out of your comfort zone and getting over yourself so that you can serve someone else, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is your coaching programs because you help entrepreneurs and things like that. And what is the thing that your coaching program what do you do for your coaching programs?
So I have a few group coaching programs. I have a couple, and I have individual coaching. Right now, I'm really focused more on my individual coaching and a community. I have a subscription community. But what my coaching is really focused on, what I love mostly, is to help people really identify the things that they are passionate about or feel called to do and give them the courage to step into that and start taking action on it. And that's usually multiple things. So the way that I approach it, it's a lot of mindset. Sometimes it's business strategy, helping people identify what their zone of genius is. And other times it's doing the parts work and the deep, like inner child healing that is keeping us stuck in these subconscious patterns of operating, right? Like, why do I get triggered by this? Why am I so resistant to being seen or managing my time or taking care of my health, whatever it is that's blocking us in any personal or professional way, there is a subconscious reason for that. And so that's the work I specialize in, is diving into that and helping to heal those parts that are keeping us stuck so that we can move forward. Yeah.
I love that. I would say I wanted to ask you, is your one-on-one coaching, is it just like an intensive coaching, which is you and the individual? Is that how you do it? Okay.
Yeah, it's usually a 12 session package and it's like hour long, just one on one, going deep on those things. But I also do that type of work on our group calls, like in our community. I share a message, we do group coaching, but then I open it up for whatever people need. And sometimes they're like, I'm going to process this inner child thing. And when I say inner child, people are like, what does that mean? I had a good childhood. Everyone that I hear say they have a good childhood, let me tell you, we all have something from our being raised, whether in adulthood or childhood, but always in childhood, where we were either hurt, misunderstood, neglected, embarrassed, or felt scared in some kind of way. And that impacted the way we view ourselves, the way we view others, the way we view the world, and how it operates. And those tiny little messages that are stuck in those times are subconsciously affecting the way we are showing up in our lives. And so, if you do not have the perfect life, your ideal career, relationship, health, whatever it is, but you know what you want and you're trying by taking action in all the ways and you're not quite getting there, it's because there is a subconscious pattern that needs to be healed. And sometimes it looks like self sabotage. Sometimes we're not even aware it's self sabotage because it's so easily disguised, right? But there are things there. There's a reason why. And it will always go back to early childhood, and that's my mindset because my background is therapy, and I specialized in trauma, and honestly, that's what I believe kind of kicked off or catapulted my growth journey was I was in a training to learn EMDR and which is a type of therapy for processing trauma. And while I'm sitting in this training with other therapists, learning how to do this type of work, I got really triggered by something, and I realized that something I was struggling in my current life was actually tied to something from when I was really young that I wasn't even aware was there. And I had to work through it. And so I spent over a year working with this therapist doing this deep healing work, inner child healing and EMDR. And it was through that as I worked through that, I started setting better boundaries in my life. I stopped being a victim. I started being more present with my kids. I started believing in myself a little bit more. And then I was introduced into entrepreneurship, and that's a whole personal development journey, right? So, on top of that, but that work I think was crucial. And I still continue to do that work on myself because there's always more layers. And
Mhm.
so, I'm a strong believer in helping clients. I have some clients that won't go there at all. Some clients that do not want to touch it, and we just do mindset and business strategy. And I love business strategy and marketing and ideas. And like, oh, you're good at this. Let's figure out how to make you do this, right? But that type of work, if you really want to quantum leap and make big progress, that type of work is crucial for sure. Yeah.
And I would say, like, the people that don't wanna go there, they're gonna just go back to the same spot again, because, like, when we kind of mask things or don't go and really heal, and it's healing, it's like we're constantly need to heal. It's like peeling the onions, the layers one by one. Um, if we don't go there, we're just gonna go back to where we are. Like, we can't just, keep moving forward without.
Get stuck in a loop, you
Yeah.
really do. And even if it looks like, "Oh, I'm doing better," then boom, why am I back here, right?
Mhm.
And I think, but I think for some of my clients, they weren't ready yet at
Yeah.
first. They weren't ready to go there yet, and after working with them for a long time, like, some of them, it took a couple years to get there, and now they
Yeah.
are doing it, but they weren't ready, and that's okay because we have to be gentle with our process, like,
Yeah.
if you've never done any work and have zero awareness of these things, you start where someone's ready. But if you really want to make lasting change and really when you get tired of your old patterns, that's when you're going to be ready to face it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and I find that the same with my time management coaching. Like, I'll have, people who aren't really ready to make the work. Like, they'll work on things, but they don't really get clear on their boundaries, or they're not really getting clear on the goals or their self care that's so important that we need to make sure we're taking care of. And then they'll come back to me, a year later and say, "Hey, I really wasn't focusing right on the right things. Let's go back, or can we work on things again?" And that's okay because we have to meet them where they're at. And I think that's what's so important with us as entrepreneur coaches is that people, we have to meet them where they're at. It's not like just a one and done, and we have to constantly continue to have that relationships with our clients. I think it's so helpful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So can I talk a little bit about your singing and your songwriting? I mean, I know that you have gotten back into it, and can you share a little bit about where you're at with your songwriting and singing and what's to come?
Yes, and this has been a journey. This is hard. It's so hard. There is a quote in the book The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Pressfield, have you ever heard of that book?
Mm-mm.
It's not the art of war, it's the war of art. And it's about how creatives, artists, musicians, they have this inner conflict. And there's a quote about how the thing that we feel most resistance to is the the one that's most important for our soul's evolution, right? And music has been my biggest passion, and I've had the most resistance to it my whole life in feeling like not being able to prioritize it, or being scared to, and being scared to be seen, or putting myself out there. And yet I have over time, created music. I have an album out, a couple singles, and I will always want to share it. But I know I'm not quite at the capacity of where I want to be yet. And right now I'm working on an album that I started 2 years ago. I recorded one song and I got a couple other instrumental tracks, but I have to finish writing to them and recording. And then I have a couple songs I've written that just need to be produced. And it is expensive. It's expensive to record music if you want it quality. The stuff I have out right now, not the best quality. I like my music, but I know it's not professional quality. Just like basement studios with people recording. And I want a really quality album that I'm doing right now. So I've been working on it, and my goal is to have it done by the end of the year. And there's a couple different journeys. I don't know where the story's not over yet, so I can't share it yet.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm gonna have to circle back to you, and share the full story when the album is out. But I am in the process, and actually, this album is the journey of a woman leaving an abusive relationship, and so each song takes her through a different phase of realizing I've got to be out, and then feeling that internal conflict and kind of getting pulled back in, and then being like, you know what, it's I'm okay on my own. And the album is going to be called She Needs Peace. And so the one song where she finally leaves, it says, um peace is better than company. She needs peace in her life. She's all alone, but she's not lonely. Peace is better than company. She needs peace in her life. And then after she needs peace, then there's this song called Unhinged, which is kind of fun where, I've seen friends go through this phase of just like being unhinged once they leave this and they feel that freedom, right? And she's just like, I'm not who I used to be. I'm not putting up with crap anymore, right? And then getting into a more grounded place and finding her power again, and especially like her spiritual power and connection with God, and just being grounded and knowing her value. And that's kind of what the vision I have for this album of what it's going to take you through. And I hope that it impacts so many women who um, maybe need the courage and the nudge to make the right decision for them. And so I'm very passionate about it. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that. I think that domestic violence is a thing that a lot of people don't talk about. And they don't talk about it for many reasons. One is fear. One is they don't want to be judged. It's easy for people to say to leave your abuser, but not knowing, the things, the scaredness, being scared. I don't know if scaredness is a word, being scared, or all the other things that go with it. And I think that what you're doing, like creating this album, as you're doing the work and putting all this together, I think it's going to really help a lot of people. And I'm thankful that you are doing this. And so I can't wait for it to come out and that we can share all about it.
Yes, I hope so. I hope you can help me share it. I still trying to figure out the vision for it, but aside from you're speaking on like a lot of people are scared to talk about it, a lot of people don't even understand what it is, and they don't even realize when they're in it. I think that's a big issue too, because it's a cycle. It's not like it's bad all the time. So they don't realize with this cycle of abuse where there's the love bombing and it feels good, and it's not black and white. People aren't
Mhm.
all bad and all good, and that's really hard for people to understand. And so a lot of women don't even recognize that they may be caught in this cycle. I had a client tell me that in working with her, that she didn't understand it until she learned about the cycle of abuse, and then she was like, oh, okay, because I kept thinking that's not me. I'm not abused, because I don't feel unsafe all the time. It's just sometimes. And it's like, well, that's abuse. And so also people outside watching in, there is so much judgment because they don't understand the cycle and all of the dynamics, the really complicated dynamics involved in that. And so that's what I want to spread awareness to, and mostly bring hope to women that there is healing and there is peace. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. And I think it's so needed in this world. I have seen abuse, throughout my life. And I think that it's really important and a thing that a lot of people don't talk about. And like you said, because they may not know that they're a part of it, they may not know that it may be something that it's like this is normal because this is the way they grew up. Like there's so many things, factors and stuff. But to bring awareness and to, I think that this music, if somebody was to listen to the album, that they would be able to understand and know that they're not alone, and then utilize the resources that are out there that are available for them. So I'm super
That's what
excited
I'm
about it.
hoping. I'm hoping to kind of do a series of podcasts with women who have been through abusive relationships as I'm launching the album to spread awareness and share their stories and share resources out there to make it a whole movement, which is funny because it has nothing, I mean, it's not funny, but it has nothing to do with any of the projects I'm currently doing. It has nothing to do with my branding or my business, but it's like, this is what came to me. God gave me the idea for this album 2 years ago, and it's like, make it. And so this is something I feel passionately about. And then I keep meeting all these women who either have businesses in helping women with this or, their own personal stories. And so, yeah, I think it's much needed. Yeah.
I would agree. And I think that, it's funny how you say, it's like not really what your branding or what you do. Like I just did a healing event earlier this month. Had nothing to do with like what I'm talking or teaching or what I do, but God put it on me to do this healing event, and I had about it was almost close to 4 hours with 8 people sharing their stories, and the feedback I got from that was, like, such like, the timing of it or who they got to listen to, and even the connection with the speakers because some of them didn't know each other, and that's what it's about. It's like, we may not, go understand what others have been through, and maybe hearing somebody else's story can help us heal through what we're going through right
Yeah.
now or something that we've been through in the past, and think that's so important.
And that's what makes you a Renaissance achiever is that you're not boxed into like, I can only talk about time management. It's like, no,
Mhm.
you get the download, you get the idea, the inspiration, and you say, okay, I'm going to do it. And we don't have to make it make sense because it does make sense. And there's this another favorite quote. I'm quoting quotes, not word verbatim because I don't know them verbatim. I should memorize them if I'm going to bring them up. But Steve Jobs, where he says, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. And so sometimes we think, well, why did God tell me to create this event and do this healing and why this and that? And then down the road, you're going to look back and say, oh, that absolutely made sense. And this is where
Mhm.
this connected and this connected, right? So it's just having the courage to take action. I love that.
Yeah, I would agree. So, as we wrap up, because I think that I can't wait. I would love to reconnect when the album's launching and all of the things. But I thought it was really important to talk about what you're doing right now and sharing all the things. But can you talk a little bit, like if we were to get connected with you before we do my last thing that I'll ask for you, how can my clients get or my podcasters get connected with you, my listeners?
You can find me on Instagram at the Renaissance Achiever Academy. That's such a mouthful. And I'm also on Facebook. My name is Sarah Fui. You can find my podcast on all streaming platforms. It's The Renaissance Achiever with Sarah Fui. And my website is www.sarah with a H, Fui.com. I have, multiple offers, whether it's group coaching or the joining the community or one-on-one coaching, and I offer a free clarity call to just kind of get to know me and what your needs are and how I might be able to help you to see if it's a good fit. And so I love connecting with people that way. If you're not interested in coaching, you just want to chat, drop me a DM. I love connecting and meeting new people online as well.
I love that, I love that, and I just wanna say she is a wonderful person, like I said, I've heard her keynote speak, I've heard her, her music, playing her music, and just having just regular conversations. She is somebody that you wanna get to know, so definitely, follow her and, see all what she's all about because she is somebody that, like I said, I truly admire, and I was so thankful the first time we met, we actually ended up sitting at the same table and just started having a conversation with her, and then she started singing that day at that same dinner that we met her at, so it was pretty cool. But, as we wrap up, though, one of the things I always ask my guest is, what is a word, a phrase, a book, an action, anything that my listeners can do today to refine and shine?
To refine and shine. Oh, okay. I have so many quotes,
Go
obvious.
ahead. Go for it.
One of my mantras, my favorite mantras from Marie Forleo is everything is figure outable. If you have that dream on your heart, that idea, like it's not impossible. There's a way. We don't know all the steps, but a quote connected with that, my favorite quote I use all the time is from Rumi, and it's as you start to walk on the way appears. So you don't have to know every step along the way. You don't even have to know how it's going to finish. You just have to know what is my next step? What am I being called to next and move forward in faith and courage. And as you do that, you'll get more clarity on what comes next and what comes next and what comes next. And you just keep moving forward because you never know how it's going to end up. People ask me, what is your 5-year plan? I'm like, ooh, 5-year plan. I got like a 5-day plan, because I feel like whatever God has in mind for me is so much bigger than what I could imagine for myself. And I don't want to pigeonhole. Like, yes, I set long-term goals, but I don't have like a very detailed, strict plan because I really believe that I try to live intuitively and trust that whatever's unfolding is what I'm supposed to be doing. And yes, I am moving towards goals and growth and personal development, and I'm not attached to the way that unfolds because there's so many millions of different avenues we could take, and giving yourself permission to pivot is so important in refining, because when we get stuck of I've always done this, I need to keep doing that, or I can't leave this relationship or leave this job, or what are my friends going to think, you are not refining yourself and you're dimming your light. You're not giving yourself the ability to shine. You have to be detached to the process of things and just keep, or not the process, but be detached to, I guess, the outcome. That's what it is, right? We
Mhm.
don't know how it's going to come, but you just keep moving forward in the ways that God is leading you to, and it will inevitably lead you to a more radiant life, right?
I love that. I love that. I think that's so important. And I think that what people are so scared of is change. They
Yeah.
just want to just do the same thing over and over, and then they wonder, like, why am I still stuck in the same place? Why isn't my income, going, or, why am I unhappy? And the thing is that change is important, and we need to have change in our lives. We need to change things up a little bit because it's just so important to see what else can come of it. Um, you just had a big move for your family, and that was probably a hard thing to do. And I know that for like me personally, when I left my job of 17 years, almost 18 years, that was a hard thing to do. I was comfortable. But see, when you were comfortable, we're not growing. And I felt like I was dying inside, and nobody understood that. But I felt like I wasn't learning, I wasn't progressing. I felt like I was going to do the same thing over and over and over again. And it was something that Trent Shelton said to me, said, and not just to me, but like the word spoke to me during one of his events, was like, we always say we have a consistency problem. It's not that we don't have it. We're consistently going to something that's not helping us grow. But what we have is complacent. We're so complacent because we don't want to, we're too scared to step outside our comfort zone. And there could be so much more once we step outside our comfort zone.
I love that. It's not a
Yeah.
consistency issue, it's a complacency. Yes.
Hmm.
Keeping us
Yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Well, thank you so much for being an amazing guest. And I can't wait for the album to come out and so that we can share it and, make it a number 1 seller.
Ah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind the scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share.
As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.